Yoon wiped the last table clean and let out a tired sigh. Another long day at the cafe was coming to an end. She removed her apron and nearly packed everything away. Just as Yoon about to leave, her eyes caught sight of a man sitting alone in the corner, lost in his own thoughts. She furrowed her eyebrows, wondering why he had not left yet. "Excuse me, sir," Yoon said gently, her voice filled with concern. "We are closing up now. Is everything all right?" The middle-aged man looked up and nodded, sadness reflecting through his face. "I hope you don't mind me saying, but you seems a bit down. Is everything okay?" "I don't know if I should talk about it. Sometimes sharing your burden with someone can lighten the load." Mr. June looked up at her, searching for sincerity, and looked down. I don't know what to do anymore. You see, it's my son. He's only 20 years old, but he's consumed by anger issues and alcohol addiction. I'm worried sick about him." She could see the pain etched on his face, the heaviness in his voice. "What do you think your son is going through this? Is there anything that might have triggered his anger issues and addiction?" "We don't know. He had everything he could wish for. But as he grew older, he became more reckless. He started yelling, throwing things. His anger issues are uncontrollable." "Oh, did you try therapy, rehabilitation?" "We did, but nothing seems to work." The man sat and looked up at Yoon, mouth went, "Oh." But something flickered in the man's eyes and he hesitated before speaking. "I have a request. What if you become my son caretaker? You seems to be a nice. I want you to give it a try. And in return, I will give you as much money as you want." Yoon looked up at him, surprised by the offer, and blinked her eyes. "I don't think so. I already have a job." "You can quit the job. You don't have to do anything else. I can provide you with enough money to support yourself. All I ask you is that to take care of my son." The offer seems tempting. You don't earn from this one job, and the man is ready to give the money you want. "I just need some time to think." "Take this. It has my contact information. When you made up your mind, please contact me." You nodded and take the card. The man smiled and then walked out of the cafe, while Yoon sat there in her own thoughts. Yoon entered inside the big house. The house was as big as mansion. There seems to be billionaire. She didn't expect that when she was making up her mind. After thinking for 3 days straight, she decided that she should give it a try, and why not? The money seems more tempting. And she had to take out her expenses, her university fees, which she does only by one job. The job is offering her more money than the money she earned in a year, so why not? And what worse can be happen? "I'm glad you came here." You looked up at Mr. June and smiled softly as they walked towards the sofa and sat down. "Thank you, Mr. June. You can start from today, and I will tell the maids to show you house and my son's room." You nodded her head as she looked around the house. The interior was expansive. "My son is not here. He came back usually at nights after university." Don't worry. I will make sure to prepare everything before he came." Mr. June smiled politely and walked away from there. Then she took a quick tour of the whole house. It was night time when Yoon was standing in the kitchen making some food. She already asked her maids about his favorite dish, and now she was just preparing things. She heard that he returned home, so quickly placing everything in a tray, she turned around but flinched badly when she greeted by a pair of intense dark eyes fixated on her. "Oh man, you startled me. Who are you?" Jungkook stood there tilting his head. His eyes narrowed when he took in the new face he never saw her before in the mansion. "Standing in my house, you're asking who I am?" "Your house? Oh, then you must be Mr. Johnson. I'm Yoon. He hired me here, a new maid. I don't think there's a need for more maids." "Excuse me, I'm not a maid. I'm hired as a caretaker." "My caretaker? What am I, a baby?" "Please, ask Mr. June about it. I'm just here to do my work. You can get out of this mansion because I don't need a maid like you." Yoon tried hard not to burst out on him for continuously calling her maid by Crystal. "As I said, I'm not a maid. I'm your caretaker. And that old man chose you for me." He scoffed and Yoon furrowed her eyebrows. How he called his dad? "First, he is your father. Call him with respect. Second, yeah, he hired me for you because he think I can handle you." Oops, wrong choice of words. Jungkook eyes darkened as he leaned dangerously close to her. "Listen here. You are no one to teach me how to call or behave with someone. And let me make one thing clear. Stay away from me. I don't need or want your help. If you think you can handle me, then you are mistaken." Ina stood there, her words caught in her throat as she gazed into his dark eyes. Jungkook turned around, but before leaving, he kicked a glass off the counter, causing her eyes to widen. "Clean this, dear caretaker," he mocked her, and with that he left the scene, leaving Yoon stood there and taking in the person quarter with him. Wow, what a gentleman, she said, looking around the messy creator and beginning to clean the floor. The next day, you made breakfast for him. Now that you have to take his full responsibility, even if you like or not, you can watch as Miss served breakfast to Mr. Jung, but Jungkook was nowhere to be seen. Jungkook didn't come for breakfast. Should I wake him up? Nah, he usually have his breakfast in his room, or he simply don't have it. Why? Skipping meals can have a negative impact on his health. That's why I have hired you, Yun. Only you are my last hope. Inside, Jungkook is really spy. She walked towards the kitchen and prepared breakfast for him. With a tray in her hand, Yun made her way to Jungkook's room. She gently knocked on the door. Breakfast is ready, but there was no answer from inside the room, so she gently pushed the door open. The room was dimly lit, and Jungkook was sprawled on his bed, still lost in his slumber. Yun approached his bed and placed the tray on the nearby table. She reached out to gently shake his shoulder. Jungkook, it's time to wake up. Breakfast is ready. Jungkook groaned and yanked her hand from his shoulder, glaring at her. Can't you just leave me alone? I told you I don't need your help. I'm here because your father asked me to take care of you. It's my responsibility to ensure you. I don't need anyone taking care of me. Get out of my room. His voice raised and Yun stepped back from his bed. Okay, I will leave, but at least have your breakfast. It's not good for your health. But before she can even complete her sentence, he angrily pushed the tray off the table, causing the dishes to crash on the floor. I said, get out. I don't need your pity on food. Yun looked at the mess and closed her eyes, calming herself down, and then looked up at him again. Fine, I will leave, but I'm not pitying you, she said calmly, which fueled Jungkook's anger. Inside Jungkook, how can she still come after he yelled out and she just left from there? Several days passed like this. Jungkook always came home late, but Yun was behaving calmly, even though he was getting on her nerves every time. Whenever she tried to give him her help, he yelled on her, like took his frustration out on her. But she always handled the situation very calmly, because if she said anything, it will fuel his anger more. It was one of the usual days when Yun entered inside Jungkook's room for tidying up his room. His room was messed up. The sound of the door slamming shut clenched her, and she turned around, her eyes meeting Jungkook's dark gaze. His eyes darkened as he saw her standing near his bed. Who the hell gave you permission to enter my room? I'm just here to do my work. Your room was messy, so. Help, I don't need your help. Just stay away from my room and let me be. Yun could sense the pain and vulnerability beneath his harsh word. She knew there is something that made him like this. She nodded her head, not wanting to make him more angry than he already is. Okay, I'm sorry, I will leave. Do you need anything? No, I don't, he said angrily and pointed towards the door. Leave now. Yun quietly exited the door, leaving Jungkook to wrestle with his emotion. Why she is so stubborn? Why can't she leave like others? Yun was working in the kitchen when she heard some yelling outside of the kitchen, more probably coming from the lounge. Yun made her way out of the kitchen only to find Jungkook yelling at his father. And why do you suddenly care about me? He yelled at his father, his frustration evident on his eyes. Mr. Jun stood there, his expression pained. I had always cared about you, Jungkook. You are my son. Lies and lies. You never cared. You were too busy with your money and business, and I was doing that all for you. Jungkook laughed bitterly at his father's words. Stop lying to yourself. You did nothing for me, so don't even expect something in return. He angrily stomped to his room. Yuna stood there trying to figure it out what happened to Jungkook that he became like this. Mr. Jun said that he'll always take care of him and always got what he wanted. Then why he's like this? Or Jungkook just wanted to blame for his anger to someone. Yun flinched when she heard some shattering sound. Mr. Jun just sighed. He got used to his son's behavior. He looked at the closed door worriedly, but the shattering sound never stopped, and Yun slowly took a step towards his room. Slowly pushing the door open, eyes widened at the sight before her. Broken pieces of glass, broken vase, and everything scattered into the room. Yun eyes saw on something which made her heart drop. The blood drops on the floor. She traced the source, and it was coming from Jungkook's hands. He didn't even care that his hand was bleeding. Jungkook, you are hurt, she said, and Jungkook looked back at her angrily. It doesn't matter. Get out of my room. Yun took a step forward towards him, not wanting to leave him alone. Your pain matters. Let me help you. He threw another vase against the wall, shattering it into pieces. Yoon flinched back, startled by the outburst. Before she could react, Jungkook closed the distance between them in a large strides, gripping her wrist tightly, his red eyes boring into her eyes. What part of I don't want your help you don't understand? His grip tightened on her wrist in his each word, and Yoon stood calm in a situation one person had remained too calm. And she is not hard for take care of him. Isn't it what she took money for? And how can she be able to help him if she started to get angry? She stayed here for that long because she remains calm in every moment. She placed her hand softly on his hand, which was gripping on her wrist, locking her eyes on his, and she felt him froze in his place. Just let me bandage your wound and then I will leave. She said softly, but Jungkook stood still, his eyes locked on her, his emotions churning inside him. He didn't say anything. Slowly, Jungkook's grip on her wrist began to loosen, and he turned around and sat on the chair quietly. He looked at him confused, but took it as a cue and searched for the first aid kit and sat beside him. Yoon sat next to him, a heavy silence. Jungkook's eyes fixated on her face as she cleaned his cut on the hand, but she didn't even show any signs of pain like he used to it. Yoon didn't pay much attention and continued to do her work. You should try to control your anger, except throwing things and hurt yourself. You should share it with someone, the thing which is messing up your mind. Jungkook didn't speak and just digging hole in her skin. Yoon finally done with the bandage and she stood up from chair and placed the kit back on the place. And she reached for the doorknob. She felt two hands on her shoulder, slamming her back against the door. Her eyes widened in surprise as she found him standing close to her. Next time, don't try to give me advice when you don't know shit. His voice was low and a warning clear. Yoon's heart being fastened. She stared in his eyes, trying to figure it out something, but the mask of anger he wore making it difficult for her. So she put her hand on his chest and pushed him away slightly, creating a distance, and moved out of the room. Later that night, Jungkook stood there lost in his thoughts and feelings. The loud music and the smoky air filled the club. His friends were around laughing and chatting, but he felt lonely inside. He took a sip of drink, hoping it would distract him from his inner turmoil. He felt something different today, which he quite pinpoint, or maybe he didn't feel that feelings from a long time, but he shrugged it off, checking out the alcohol to forget everything. And just like always, he spent his night in club getting wasted and staying in one of his friend's house. Jungkook sat in his room engrossed in playing games. He cursed loudly as his character was losing. His book scattered all around, forgotten and neglected. He had work to do, but gaming is always his first priority. The door of his room opened suddenly, and he looked in the direction who dared to enter in his room without permission, and it was Yoon. He looked ahead but groaned loudly, throwing the remote control on the floor. Don't you have manners? Can't you see I'm busy? Yoon placed the tray of his snacks on the table and turned to face him. My apologies, but I figured it out. You do get angry either way, so I thought, why not bringing the snacks along? Seriously, I lost my game because of you. Well, can't you just replay the game then? It's not the end of the world. You don't understand anything about games. My character died and you have no idea how difficult to survive in the game. Well, you are still alive, aren't you? So pick up the controller and give it another try. Jungkook narrowed his eyebrow. How? She's talking back at him. You are getting bolder day by day. Know your limits. I know my limits very well. I was hired to take care of you, not to tolerate your tantrums or disrespectful behavior. Jungkook rolled his eyes and crossed his arm on his chest. Yoon fired the smile back on her face. He looked like a kid who just lost an argument and now sulking. Eat this, I made them for you. You have been playing games since morning, you must be tired. She placed the tray of his snacks in front of him. I don't need them. You can get out of my room along with the snacks. I was waiting for you to say those words. Get out. I'm going any minute. You no need to act all grumpy all the time. She said and walked out of the room while Jungkook just sat there eyeing the mouth-watering snack and looked at the closed door, then picking up the plate and started eating it. Jungkook entered the house late at night feeling exhausted. As he made his way toward his room, he noticed the lights on in the kitchen. He walked in and found Yoon sitting at the table surrounded by her books on the counter. He narrowed his eyes. He saw her first time this late. The question was, what is she doing here this late when all the maids already left? He silently poured himself a glass of water and stood there, observing her focused expression. Yoon was so immersed in his story that she didn't even notice his presence. He wanted to talk to her just randomly. He don't want to go to his room and want to try to sleep all night. So he cleared his throat, making the silence. What are you doing here at this time? Yoon had snapped up, surprised by his sudden presence. She blinked a few times before answering. I didn't realize you were here. And why do you look surprised by my presence? Because you don't usually come home. So you thought you could roam around like your own place? I'm just sitting in one place doing my work. That's what I'm asking. What are you doing? Doing my university assignments? You study too? Now what kind of question is that? Obviously I study. I'm just the same age as you. Then why are you working here as a maid? I'm not working here as a maid. I'm working as a caretaker, and I have my reasons to work. Jungkook's curiosity increased as he leaned on the counter, surprised. How does she even manage all the things? Then how do you manage all of it? It can be challenging at times, but I'm used to the routine. You have to make difficult choices and find a way to make it work. What's so difficult about it? It's not like someone is forcing you to work here. As I said, it was my choice to work here. Anyway, make me something to eat. I'm hungry. I'm working here, Jungkook. So what? It's not my problem. You're getting paid to take care of me, aren't you? Yun rolled her eyes at his cockiness. Although he was not entirely wrong. Yun closed her books and stood up from her seat. Just because I'm getting paid for it doesn't mean I'm in charge tolerating you. She said, but her playful tone vanished when she noticed the change in Jungkook's behavior. No, I didn't mean it. Just make something for me already. I don't have all day to chit-chat with you. Yun bit her lips. She definitely said something which he didn't like, but Yun just quietly stopped working in the kitchen while Jungkook went to his room. Yun prepared a plate of midnight snacks, including his favorite dish, spicy chicken ramen. He don't ask for food, and the first time he asked, Yun don't mean to make him disappointed. And she made her way inside his room. As she stepped inside, she noticed it engrossed in playing game once again. A hint of frustration flashed across her face, not wanting to disturb his gaming session like last time and get yelled by him. So she silently placed the plate of food on the table and was about to turn around when Jungkook unexpectedly stopped her. Wait. Yun turned around, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. Yes, is there something you need? Absolutely, come here. Yun approached the bed curiously where he was sitting and motioned her to sit beside him. What should I do now? Feed me. Yun's eyes widened in surprise, not expecting such a request. Why can't you eat by yourself? My hands are busy, can't you see? So feed me. Please, I have other work to do, she said, annoyed by his behavior. She was not his babysitter. Then I will deduct your salary because you don't do your work properly. Yun's eyes narrowed at his threat, her patience anything. Fine, I will do it, but don't get used to it. Whatever. She reluctantly sat beside him, reluctantly picking up the spoonful of food she had prepared. She held it out for him and he obediently opened his mouth, allowing her to feed him. Wow, that was good, he said, and opened his mouth again for a large bite while continued playing his game. In that moment, it felt like she was feeding a baby who was happy when someone took care of him. When someone found herself confused by his behavior. The contrast between his immature outbursts and these vulnerable moments created a mix of emotion within her. She sighed inwardly, wondering if she would ever fully understand the complexities of Jungkook's personality. Nevertheless, she continued to feed him, fulfilling her role as his caretaker, even if it meant dealing with his occasional quirks and demands. As the week passed, Jungkook began to coming home earlier than usual and would ask for his favorite meal. Sometimes he even wanted Yoon to feed him. Then both used to this routine and Jungkook seemed comfortable with it. Yoon would be surprised when he arrived early and say, "Whoa, you came home early?" He enjoyed the food she made, and although he has still occasional outbursts that didn't happen as often as before, but like he was somewhat changing until one day Jungkook was lying in his bedroom with his eyes closed. It was morning and he had already woken up. patiently waiting for Yoon to bring him breakfast in bed, as she usually did. However, it seems to be taken longer than usual, and he wondered why she had not knocked on the door yet. He decided to continue lying there, assuming she would arrive soon. Just as he started to get impatient, he heard knocking on the door. A smile appeared on his lips, but the act like he was sleeping as he expected Yoon to enter and wake him up. But the moment he heard unfamiliar voices, his eyes shot open and he looked at the maid. It was not Yoon. Where is Yoon? His first question, and the maid looked at his young master, who stood there nervously knowing his habit. They don't come in his room because he hated when someone entered in his room. She's not in the mansion today. What do you mean? Where did she go? She had to arrange some urgent personal matter. She informed your father.
Mama said you're meant to burn as bright as a star among the midnight sky. All the pressure blinded me, but now I see I'm no different from the rest. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid for that open door. Show me proof that there is something more. I just hope I am okay with the choices I make. Maybe then I'll understand. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid, and I'm close to hit the ground. You said I'd fly away. Mama said you're meant to burn as bright as a star among the midnight sky. All the pressure blinded me, but now I see I'm no different from the rest. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down. Now I'm lost and I'm afraid for that open door. Show me proof that there is something more. I just hope I am okay with the choices I make. Maybe then I'll understand. You said I'd fly away, but my walls have kept me down.